Cyrus, how are you?
I'm doing well.
How's your BevNet?
It's actually one of my suppliers with Blueprint.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've known him for a long time, and once again, you've been involved in the cold pressed juice category since it really started blowing up. We've already asked Marcus and Erwin about the cold pressed juice category. As someone who's as deeply involved in distributing cold pressed juice, where do you see this category going?
So I don't think there's a lot of additional space there for another line of cold pressed green juices and apple-based lemonades. I see new products coming out that are maybe single fruit products, things that are have more functionality than the current product line. So I think as the category grows, you're going to see more hydration products that have lower sugar. Then you'll see some other products developing that are blended products with much more fiber. So the category will expand and diversify.
Oh, I guess I want to ask a question about your own line of the maple waters that you guys have, and just kind of give us any insight into how that's doing.
So, we've got a brand named Sap on Tap, line of maple waters that we launched last year. It is a teeny category.
Right.
I think the jury is still out on whether it will become the next coconut water. We think it kind of hits a lot of the on-trend boxes. So it's natural hydration, it's low in sugar and carbs, and it's nutrient dense. It's got a whole bunch of different micronutrients, but principally manganese, about twice the manganese as a cup of kale. We're seeing some nice velocities, but to kind of echo what Rohan said up earlier today, which is what I tell brands that we work with all the time, we don't want to be every place, day one. We want to go cross categories, pick our battles, develop velocities, get the message out. There's a very low level of consumer understanding of what maple water is, and so we want to make sure that we're educating consumers as we're growing rather than throwing the product out there into gas stations.
You don't want to be everywhere, but Dora's as a company is expanding geographically. You're moving out of New York and sort of a little bit further north. I mean, what's that process like of sort of expanding your region, but not opening satellite offices?
So we looked very seriously at launching into New England in the fall. We spent scores of hours as a team. We actually found a location, and in the end, we didn't pull the trigger because we just had too many projects going on. We're not only a distributor, we're a manufacturer, so we manufacture for our own brands like Sap on Tap, as well as for other brands like World Water's Watermelon Water. We're an HPP toller, which we're expanding greatly this year. We're buying an additional facility in New Jersey. We'll be blow molding our own bottles to supply this category. And we actually are now starting to take some of our brands that we're distributing regionally and expand our distribution deals to a national basis. So we just finalized a deal with Juice by Julie for their line of shots, which is a kind of another exciting category that we see emerging. A whole bunch of companies are out here. We think they've got some nice innovation, some unique products. We have a chlorophyll product, an E3 Live product. We just finalized, I think we just signed that deal on Thursday of this past week, and we'll be now rolling that out nationally. Nice. So to answer your question, with all that going on, we thought it wasn't prudent to open up a satellite location this year, and rather just go much deeper into New York and slowly creep out geographically, as you mentioned. So we're continually pushing further east in Connecticut and further north in New York and further south in New Jersey. I think it'll be a big year of growth. We run 50 trucks currently, and I think in the next 9 months we'll probably be up to 70 or 75.
Yeah, and it's tough to run a business like yours because you're a refrigerated truck company. I mean, you're a refrigerated distributor. And, one of the things that I saw the other day, actually, I was walking through New York and I saw a bodega, and they had kombucha out in the open, cases of it, not refrigerated. I mean, how are you educating retailers? How are you working with retailers to maintain that kind of level of quality that your suppliers expect?
Yeah, so we obviously can't control everything every retailer does after they get a hold of our product, but I'd say we don't have many of those issues. Even though we carry quite a number of shelf-stable beverages, Runa, Guayaquil, Up Mountain Switchel, as well as others. We just signed a deal with Agua. Our entire chain is refrigerated, so when we're delivering a product, our retailers, we're pretty good at educating our retailers on where the product should go, and we've got quite a lot of merchandising in the field. I think you'll run into those problems more when you have distributors that maybe aren't beverage distributors. They just have a refrigerated truck and they're selling baby wipes and they've got no merchandising support, and so the retailers don't know what to do with the product once they get it.
Now, we talked to Jerry Rita yesterday. He was the chief operating officer of Big Geyser, slightly bigger operation than you guys right now, and he was really extolling the importance of being well-funded, being focused, and sort of really collaborating with your distributor on a day-to-day kind of basis, like talking to them constantly. Is that the same kind of advice that you would offer to your suppliers and to new suppliers?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have a rule that if we don't get to know the CEO or owner of the company, we won't work with them. And we work very closely with them. We're very deliberate about what we pick up. And in almost all cases, we're either making an investment or getting a small piece of equity as part of doing our deal. So our interests are aligned, and one of our services is helping guide our business partners, our brand partners, not just in our geographic area, but helping them in other areas as well. Maybe we know a broker on the West Coast that we think would work well with them. Maybe they want us to look at a contract, for another distributor, beverage distributor in another market. We'll get that deep with our vendors, and that's pretty important to us.
So I guess looking forward a little bit, are there any categories that are kind of, interesting but not totally on the radar for Dora's to pick up right now?
So the categories that we play in are obviously perishable beverage, where we're pretty dominant. Shelf-stable beverage, which we're continuing to grow every week. Snacks, which has really been a smaller category for us, but where we think there's a lot of room for growth. So we just signed My Superfoods in the last few weeks. And dairy case, where we got started, and where we're continuing to look at some interesting dairy case brands, some sizable brands that we're negotiating with right now. I think those are the areas we're going to continue to play with. If I took a look at subcategories, I think shots is very interesting, right? I think you'll see shelf products, which have typically been shelf-stable products that are aseptic or retort products that have very long shelf life, migrating over into perishable versions of them that are much less processed and probably more nutrient intact. Some of which I could talk about, some of which I don't want to, because we're gonna probably JV on a couple of those.
Okay.
In your own portfolio, can you tell us some of the fastest growing brands and the fastest growing categories that you're seeing? I mean, which brands are right now just on fire?
So, I think World Waters, watermelon water, is, obviously one of our fastest growing brands. It's on fire. It's picked up the Beyonce investment and getting a lot of play. Kombucha, which has been a very substantial category for us for a while, it just seems to have had its moment, Sometimes we're so early into categories, it sometimes is a little bit of we get a skewed view of it. So we were the first distributor of Greek yogurt in the country with Faye. They were flying it over from Greece. When we were doing $10 million of Faye in our house, we thought, hey, it's kind of done already, They were a $50 million brand. It was a $60 million category, and obviously it just kind of got started. And I think we're seeing the same thing with kombucha. It might have been a $5 million brand with us, on its way to being a $10 or $15 million brand, but it's on its way to being a $500 million category.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really growing unbelievably fast right now. It's almost like maybe the cold brew coffee of this year, of 2016.
Right,
How about that? Yeah.
We can't get enough. We're on allocation.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Cyrus, this has been really great. And I can't thank you enough for being here. I mean, I know we see you sometimes, and it's like, we've been so candid with some of our guests today, and you've been really open about everything that's going on with Dora. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.